Let's see if this works. Recording in progress. All right. All right, good. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to our first episode of the second season of Data Masters, DEP presenters. How is everybody? Good luck. Thank you.
Heart react naman, guys. Ano ba yun? Thumbs up. Heart.
Chat. Oh, wait. Hold on. Okay. Mahina. Oh, okay. So is it clear now? Is it clear now? Can you sound off in the chat? Yeah, okay. Ah, okay. Great, great. Ah, Alex, ako lang ba yung zero volume at all? Mukhang ikaw lang. Mhm. All right. So, welcome everybody to our first episode of Data Masters. This exciting night. We welcome our generous volunteers, uh, Algorex or Danielle, and Alex, I think. Alex is the next speaker. Tama ba, Alex? Can you sound off? Yes,
Yes po,
Alex,
tama po.
the next one. Yes. Okay, good. The first volunteer unfortunately had a power outage. So we're left with, we have to proceed now to the next one. The next one is Danielle. Danielle, are you there? O habang hinintay natin si Danielle. Okay. Have you guys answered the survey yet? Yes? No?
Yes po.
Good.
Thumbs up yung mga nakapagsagot na.
Okay,
May hindi.
Alex. RM. Good. Which survey? Huh? Now, this is the one where we have the community pulse. We want to know what the community needs. And based on the community survey results, we will tailor fit our initiatives to those. For example, if you need more educational materials, or you need more activities like this where we interact with other people, or more networking, so on and so forth. And the other part is, among those who are working, we hope they can also share with us their work situation. For example, are they working abroad? Are they working part-time? Or is it full-time? Or are they working from home or on-site? Things like those. Salary, the things that we've always wondered about what data jobs look like. So hopefully we get a lot of the people who are also working on the data sphere to answer the survey. Ayan, it's on the chat. The link is on the chat. Thanks, Michelle Onassis. Mike. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so mukhang wala pang masyadong nakasagot ng survey. Just two people. I hope you can answer after this, okay, while we're waiting for Danielle. after this. Right. Hello, is Danielle there? Not yet. Alex, do you want to go first?
Okay lang naman po. Not that I want. Pero okay lang.
Pwede naman. And then, okay, let's still wait for Danielle. And if not, also Jess Ven, just to remind everybody, Jess Ven volunteered to be an applicant. And Angel Camille is supposed to be the interviewer. So we will have like a role-playing event happening tonight after the presentations. Okay, Alex, maybe you can share already. Sorry, napamove ka. All right.
Nakikita na po ba? Hindi ako familiar
Na.
sa Zoom eh.
Kita na.
Okay, so magandang I'll speak in English probably.
Yes, English English tayo.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening to
Good
all of you guys, and afternoon for my time zone. So this is a simple marketing metrics dashboard. Great. Actually, this one is a real project. It's a paid project requested for me. I just anonymized the data so that it's suitable for public consumption. So here it is. So I'll just plug myself. So if there's a recruiter here, I'm free. So I'm a career shifter from the oil and gas industry, and I have a real fun and enthusiasm in solving some not so difficult problems. And I was a petroleum engineer in terms of educational background, and took me a month when the career of data analytics hit on me that I want to try it. So because I have extensive knowledge in Excel, grasping the Power BI and SQL, the basics was quite fun for me. And then while I was learning, I started already shooting up some resumes. So it took me 3 months since I first touched Power BI to land my first job as a data or a report creator, data analyst. Okay, so the presentation would tackle these things: business goal, project problems and constraints, and then the solution I was able to, and then of course the output. So for the business goals, this is a chat GPT created thing. So it's very long, so I will not read it. So basically, they want to monitor their metrics so that they can decide how's the marketing team doing in terms of the marketing performance. So those common KPIs, so CPA, CTRs, conversions, and expenditures. So constraints, project problems, and constraints. So they specifically ask for Looker Studio. If you're not familiar with it, it's the Looker Studio is different from Looker. There are two Looker names in the Google Cloud platform for the data viz. So Looker is more difficult. It has a higher steep learning curve, but it has a better data modeling. Uh, but Looker Studio is the free version, so you can share it for free once you've created your dashboard. It has a very limited access for data sources, though. Most of it are paid third party connectors. But then, of course, if your source is in Google Sheet, Excel, or BigQuery, which works under the Google Workspace, then you would be fine. So I will just show the data source. So the data source is for these three tables. So the leads table. So this is the raw data, although I've cleaned it a little bit. I've removed some inconsistencies where the names have so much commas and spaces. So we have the leads table, and then the Google table is the expenditures, the common metrics found if you are running in marketing. You will have the clicks, impressions, some metrics, and then cost. So of course, this one is an added source so that I can identify where the cost came from. So Google Plus, because this is the main table, so I just like added it so that they will have the same format. So once I have uploaded it in BigQuery, it will be read properly. So as you can see, this all the lead source would always be Google because the source of these metrics is from Google, and then this one is from Facebook. So, but as you can see, their dates would interlap. So this one is from January up to July, I think the resource. So January, and then the Google would only start from April up to July also. So the problem is you need to get their overall cost per day or per week specifically, and then what are the metrics gained from uh, those days. So because as you can see, so we have in the lead source, let's filter it. So in the source, we have many source, not just Facebook and Google. But then because it's basically happened using that money spent on Facebook and Google, there's still that source is specifically, I mean, that leads still came from those marketing expenditures. So there's no inherent relationship. As you can see, there's no primary key, or there's no oh, there's no primary key or foreign key that will actually connect them. As you can see, I only have first name, lead source, status, and created date, and then day, country, clicks. So my only connector to them is basically they all have dates column. And then so data has no oh, sorry. So data has no inherent data modeling. Data is unclean, although I've presented it as almost clean already. And then prevent the crashing of Looker Studio and ensure scalability. Okay, so the solutions is use a BigQuery to pre-aggregate and combine the data source. If you're very familiar with Power BI, for example, you can double aggregate, or you can assign an aggregation to a variable. Let's say you want to find the max of a certain column or certain columns, and you want to add the max of those columns, you can do it in Power BI. But in Looker, you cannot. You can only aggregate the column or set of columns once. You cannot do double aggregations. Thus, I needed to pre-aggregate them outside Looker Studio, so that another aggregation can be done by Looker, by like sum, count. So I utilize different SQL functions to achieve the desired denormalized data. If as I've been working in Looker Studio a lot, denormalized data or a flat table is the best source for Looker Studio. You don't really want to do normalized data wherein you will join them inside Looker Studio compared to Power BI. Uh, so this is the query to so that in if you're familiar with View, the output of this is like one big table. So it's a combination of multiple CTEs. So as you can see, inside the CTE there are two CTEs. So inside with Zoho CTE, I have lead count CTE and convert count CTE. So so that I will have per date, so I will have three columns. Will have the date column or the created date, and I will have the source and their count. Will basically the lead count, and then it will for the second CTE, which is I need to get the convert count of that days, because they will come from the same column, marketing leads. So there are two CTEs. So the final query, the final select of this CTE, these two CTEs would create this table where I will have all the dates. So the cols is to get all the dates of both table. It's joined by outer join, full outer join, because I really need all the I don't want to miss that's present on the one table and not present on the other. And then of course all their lead source and lead counts, because the data is somewhat messy where there's a lead on count, there's a lead name but there's no converted name. So I combine them, so I will have four columns now, whereas I will have dates, lead source, the total number of leads per day, and the total number of converts per day. So joining condition, and then it will create the Zoho CTE. So I make it easy. I always prefer to use CTE because it will easy for me in creating flat tables. So now I need to get the marketing metrics from the Facebook and Google table. So I need to get especially the main concern here is the cost. They need to know how much they are spending per day or per week. So combining both Facebook and Google. So I have another CTE called marketing metrics. So basically it's the same. So I just go I just pre-aggregate this one so that I have a sum per day. So if I put it in Looker Studio, I will have a sum per week also visible as per request. So just aggregated here. So CTE combined, And then after that, I combine the two CTE, which is the marketing metrics and the Zoho. And as you can see, now I will have those cost, click, impressions, convert count, lead count per date, all per day. I need those everything from per day. So, and as you can see, the connector is only the lead date and the lead source. So I use Vue. So in BigQuery, you don't need to create Vue as in compared to MySQL. You just save it as Vue. And then the output. So this is a screenshot. And if we go to the main dashboard, so I will have those lead cost. The summary they did, and I will have the. So it's a little big but it's 16:9. So I will have the trend as requested. As you can see, the cost here. So lead count. So you can see I forgot to add the pound sign. Anyway, so the lead cost is £10 per leads, and they actually spent year to date £61,000. So as y- so there's and then just a summary to they want a big table so that they will see it summarized per week. So that's why I need to pre-aggregate it per day, so that the only thing that Looker will do is aggregate it again per week. And yeah, so that's a simple uh, dashboard I've created, and this is a real request for me. Although the final output is a little bit more complicated than this, but I opt not to add those things anymore. And that's it for me.
Okay, good. Ang bilis ah. Less than 10 minutes.
Kala po kasi 5 minutes lang.
Ganun ba? No, 5 to 10 minutes. Pero that's good. That's good. Actually, you covered a lot of ground. Anyone want to react? Mike?
Yeah, I'll start. So Alex, maybe can you open your presentation?
The,
Sige. So siguro I'll start with with your the way you're presenting yourself. So in terms of confidence, no, the way you're posturing, it's really good. Kumbaga you have confidence in the way you talk and the way kumbaga you really know your material. So that's good. Siguro what I would like you to focus on in terms of improvement, no, is more on the big picture. Kasi I think some of the things that you discussed is a bit too much detail. Although, kumbaga na-cover mo siya in less than 10 minutes or so, which is good rin naman. Pero yung parang na-imagine ko, it might become challenging if depende sa audience mo. So when I say big picture, parang when you're crafting yung narrative mo for your presentation, try to role play din. Like parang kanino ka ba magpe-present? Sino ba yung parang nai-imagine mo na audience mo for this time? Ano ba yung gusto mong sabihin sa kanila? And how do you want to present yourself? I like nga na sorry, can you go sa first slide mo? Or I think it was second slide yata. Yan. So I like na parang binenta mo yung sarili mo. In the absence of, kunyari, you're in a situation na hindi ka kilala nung person or nung audience mo, it's always good to sell yourself. Bakit? Kasi kumbaga, bakit sila makikinig sa'yo? Parang ganun. So you need to parang set up your credibility. And this is a good start to do it. Siguro what I would advise is, since this is a presentation, ang tawag dito, you would want to be efficient when it comes to parang presenting yourself. So for example, I think cuts across dun sa presentation mo, maraming text masyado dun sa screen. The challenge doon is people will tend to read instead of listen to you. So for example, for this slide, I would probably just retain lang yung mga key information that's important. Like for example, instead of writing career shifter, oil gas industry, just write oil gas industry, graduate of petroleum, and then ano yung mga key skills mo, parang ganon. And then yung current role mo, parang especially you mentioned kanina, no, parang if may recruiter dito, ganyan. So actually, instead of saying the presenter, you can just write your name na mismo, or maybe like ano tawag dito? Your link to your LinkedIn, maybe ganon. And then write yung role na gusto mo already. Parang ganon. Parang ano mo na, ito na yung 5 minutes of fame mo eh, di ba? And then generally yung advice ko is kind of the same for the rest of your presentation. You're presenting kasi a lot of parang complex and detailed stuff. I would advise, sige, can you move to the next slide? Yan, ito. So, y- would be good to parang uh, lean heavily dun sa parang each stages of the story. So for example, ang tawag dito, I think there was a part there where you talk about depende kasi sa parang audience mo. Minsan maganda to start with the end goal, which is yung dashboard, and then tsaka ka mag-aatras. Pero I think yung ginawa mo is from the start to the end, which is okay lang rin naman. Yun. And I think yung ending mo na lang, that's another thing na can be improved, na parang ano ba yung parang a good summary, and then bakit important yung ginawa mo, parang ganun, para lang strong yung finish, no? And ano yung na-solve mo na problem, which is you stated naman from the start. Okay. Outside of that, I think I like the simplicity. Kumbaga very raw siya. Ano lang, kumbaga you can still polish it further para mas impactful yung delivery. Yeah. I think that's for me.
Thank you po, thank you.
Ako natuwa. No, I like the presentation because it was complete from what the background is, what happened during the data cleaning, and what was the process, and then finally the output, and how it's relevant to the stakeholders. So this is what they wanted, this is what I gave them. So it was, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Especially that it's refreshing to see a dashboard that's not in Power BI. And I think, Mike, you mentioned this when he posted this in Facebook. Also, the fact that it's not fancy, and somebody also commented here, it's very simple and sleek, not a lot of fancy stuff, which I also heard from a lot of people, not just the first DEP presenters. Somebody commented that, but looking at other YouTube videos as well, they all say those fancy things that you see in Tableau Public, in reality, they don't happen. What you need is this. What the stakeholder needs, you give it to them. Don't put all those fancy colors and fancy pie charts. They're not really needed in reality. So I was happy with that.
Oh, actually, just to add pala to what Sandy mentioned, no? So Alex talked about yung mga problems na he encountered. Maganda yon. When you guys present, it's good to talk about, ito, I encountered this, and this is how I solved it. Kasi it will show na you guys, hindi siya copy-paste na project, diba?
Yes.
Ano talaga kayo, no? May encounter talaga kayong problem, and you were able to solve it on your own. Maganda to articulate how you researched about the solution, etc. Kasi, I mean, at the end of the day, that's really the work na gagawin nyo.
Any other comments from other participants? Any questions for the presenter? So you can replicate. Oh, there were questions here.
I-chat, share ko na lang po. Ay, sorry po.
Sige. Share mo na.
I-share ko na lang po, may question dun sa chat na was the cleaning done purely in MySQL? Wala naman po exact cleaning na maganda sa SQL eh. Sa SQL po kasi either data modeling or data what you call this, parang reposition ng data like kasi table at table yung output sa SQL once you've created a query in SQL. The output will always be a table. So yung recommended cleaning actually like removing extra spaces, you can do it in Python if you're good in Python. Removing kasi doon sa text actually when we downloaded it from Zoho, sobrang daming double columns double columns yung so magmamali siya pag nilagay mo siya sa rules. Like, paano ba ma-count yung converts? Actually, marami pang behind nito na hindi ko na mapapakita. So, once na dinownload ko siya from Zoho, sa G-Sheet ko na siya inayos like trim, remove all those extra unnecessary all these text or characters
Oo, yung
na
mga
hindi
yung
siya
dumi.
mariread ng SQL.
Extraneous characters that you don't like.
Yeah. So sa SQL, ang ginawa ko lang is kasi tatlong table siya. So kailangan kasi sa Looker Studio, pag mayroon siyang modeling pero hindi kasing intrinsic ng Power BI. So ang desired lagi ng Looker Studio is flat table compared sa Power BI na tinuturo sa atin is i-model, i-normalize yung data to save memory. Dito kasi ang nag-handle naman is BigQuery. So BigQuery na lang yung nag-handle ng load ng data. And then si Looker Studio na. And inherit din kasi yung as you can see in the one solution, BigQuery has a built-in BI booster if connected as data source sa Looker Studio. So siya na yung bahalang mag-handle most of the load. So parang if Looker Studio na lang talaga yung mag-show nung graphs kasi walang graphs naman ng SQL.
Ang daming questions ha, Alex. Mukhang sa'yo na lang tayo.
Anong code ang gamit for? Wala pong cleaning sa Looker. Ang Looker po is parang as much as possible po ang ginagawa ko sa Looker is ang super basic aggregations na lang. Although may pa rin sa Looker, may tinatawag din na kumbaga sa Power BI meron tayong calculated metrics. Meron din calculated field yung Looker. Medyo limited lang kumpara sa Power BI. So, as much as possible sa BigQuery ko na inaayos yung data para sa simple sum, simple count, ganun na lang lagi yung gagawin ng Looker.
Okay.
So, ini-imagine ko na itong column na to is maayos na. Pag sinum niya, okay, yun na yun. Halimbawa, total sales for the year, kailangan i-arrange ko na lahat ng is naka pre-aggregated na per day, kunwari. Para pag pinlog ko siya, sum this days or sum this year. Ganun na lang.
Okay.
Looker more complicated to Power BI. Hindi, mas madaling matutunan ng Looker. Kaya lang, mas limited ka in terms of capabilities. As I've said, you cannot double aggregate in Looker. For example, marami kang columns, let's say columns ng let's say yung March, April, May sales mo ay naka-column. So, say you want to add the max of all the three. Max mo yung March column, max mo yung April column, then max mo yung May column, and then sum all those max. You cannot do it in Looker. Compared sa Power BI, you can store it in a variable and then sum them and then aggregate them again. So medyo limited yung capabilities ng Looker. Pero mas easy siya. Hindi po ang ginagawa lang sa Looker is sum lang po. I guess
Wait,
I'll
you're
show
answering a question, no?
Opo, ito yung question. Sa Looker mo ginawa yung calculations. Ano lang po yung calculations sa Looker? Simple sum. I'll show the back end ng Looker. So kunwari po ito leads. Basically sum lang po, default sum lang kasi di ba pag nag-drag ka ng something. So may aggregation na agad na mangyayari. Hindi pwedeng wala. So for example, the leads, sum lang yung ginawa nung Looker. Wala nang iba. Same, almost all of them are sum or count or average. Isang aggregation lang. So parang default lang. Kasi nga, inayos ko siya sa BigQuery to ensure na yun lang talaga yung gagawin ng Looker. Kasi hindi siya ganun kaganda mag-calculated field. Although meron din. As you can see, this is the calculated metric. So, dinivide ko lang.
Mm-mm.
Pag nag-sum kasi like in Power BI, I think, row level. So halimbawa dito, pag tinanggal ko tong sum dito, ano siya, iba yung answer niya. Well, let's say.
Pag-calculate.
Hindi po kasi row level po siya eh. So parang i-total ko muna yung sum nung cost. Halimbawa po, hindi sila magkatapat. Let's say row number 1, yung cost dito is 0 and then convert count dito is 1. Hindi po sila magtatagpo. So parang hindi siya yung hindi siya yung total conversion cost. Row level siya eh. I think Power BI is the same.
Yung question is, so it's better ba to, ano yun? So it's better, naging question and answer na tayo. So it's better ba to create the sum or other aggregates sa ibang platforms like Power BI before import to Looker Studio? But I think you answered this sa BigQuery mo ginawa, di ba? Yung
Yes
pre-process.
po. Yung Power BI po and Looker is same in the sense na sila po ay data visualization tool. So ang output po nila is graphs, charts or whatever. Magkaiba lang sila ng creator which is ito ay Google and then Power BI is Microsoft. Tapos magkaiba rin po sila ng ibang capabilities. So in terms of para kasing kayang mag-stand alone ng Power BI pero ito it needs a lot of pre-processing outside Looker
At
actually.
BigQuery. Oh, okay.
Double aggregate. Double aggregate po is halimbawa sa isang column, kinuha niyo ang aggregation din po kasi ang max and mean or i-average niyo siya. Kunwari po, meron kayong tatlong column na may mga numbers. I-average niyo yung isang column or yung tatlong column and then ipag-plus niyo yung tatlong average. Yun po yung double aggregation. Hindi po kaya yun ng Looker Studio. Yun po yung double aggregation.
Oh, last question na lang. Last 2 questions. The last question, second to last. Uploading the code in GitHub, is it necessary when you're
Hindi po.
already working for a company?
Ayan. So, is uploading the code. Hindi po yung GitHub po is para lang ma-share ko yung solution kasi po tinanong ko po kasi yung solution, nag-ask po ako ng help sa Data Engineering Philippines kung may makaka-help. So, nung na-solve na po yung problem, gusto ko po i-share yung query na na-create para makita po ng marami. Kaya po in-upload ko sa GitHub. Pero hindi po siya necessary.
Ayan. Okay. Last question na lang before we move to the next.
Ay, si Miss Bea, she's my mentor.
Good.
Yeah.
I just want to, Sandy, siguro, comment.
Yes.
Yep. Alex, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, Alex, for sharing. I think I agree with all the comments so far, and all the questions are quite valid. And I guess from my side, I just realized or noticed that the presentation, actually the structure of the flow is quite good, Alex. And I noticed though that it's more on the technical side, meaning, it depends on the audience, as what I think highlighted by Mike earlier. So it depends on the audience, right? I think since all of us here are quite technical, you hit the nail on the head there in making your presentation a bit more detailed and technical. Although I agree as well that there's too much code in one of your slides, and I'm sure no one's going to read all of those. But it's a good flow. And I also remember going back to the comment regarding the audience. So if you're presenting this to marketing people, most likely you have to somehow, dumb down. Meaning making it a little bit more user friendly or reader friendly or viewer friendly. So I guess I remember one situation wherein I was asked or told by my boss that he's just asking for the time, and I actually answered on how to make a watch. So it's sort of like it depends on the audience, right? Especially when you're dealing with sales people, marketing people, particularly pre-sales. Sometimes they will tell you not to be very helpful. not to expose everything. So yeah, but yeah, it's good all in all, and thanks for sharing. It's my first time to learn about Looker. So yeah, thanks Alex. Yeah,
Thank you
good
po, thank you po.
presentation. Cheers.
Okay, tama to sabi ni Bea, pwede na mag-session si Alex ng how to use Looker.
Pwede na.
Oh, Bea, you have a few comments. Last na si Bea.
Yeah, I'll just make it quick. Hi, Alex. Yeah,
Hello
so
po,
I
hello
think,
po.
yeah, well, si Alex nga was my, parang mentee. So, I definitely agree with the comments ni Sir Mike, tsaka, and grammar. How do I, sorry.
Bong.
Sir Bong. Ayan. Sure. So, yeah, so you really have to cater it to who you're talking to. So the story is very important. Let's say if you're talking to, let's say, a CEO, normally how I would recommend it is you start with the analysis na already na what do you want to tell them? Let's say they only have 2 minutes. Number one, their needs is this, etc. Because whenever you talk to business people, they only want to know, okay, what's in it for them? What's the story? What's the story or what's the insight you want to share with them? And then secondly, on the way you presented naman, that's as Sir Mike mentioned, you're very confident with the way you're saying. I think normally in a if you're gonna be strict on the professional side, try to minimize, I think, a bit of comments like, kunwari, I just use ChatGPT for this kasi baka they might say, ginamit na lang ChatGPT to generate some slides. So, yun, if it's very, very professional setting, those are things na you just really wanna be straight to the point. And then last is just on your dashboard. So, very nice as well, very clean to look at. Maybe something to add lang, Alex, would be kung ano yung, let's say, kunwari, cost. Are you using pounds? Are you using mga unit of measurement lang para people would know right away? Because I know you mentioned pound because it's what you presented. Pero at least if for someone who's looking at your dashboard without somebody talking, it would be great to add a little bit more of those info lang para they could use it self-service. Yun, I think
Na-miss lang po yung isa.
sorry, napansin ko. But yeah, I think some things to add if ever para at least the goal then is you give that dashboard to them tapos they could navigate on their own if you're not there to talk about your dashboard. Yun lang. But yeah, I think overall great job especially from the last time you shared your challenges with me.
Yan.
Parang
Yeah.
The Voice, Nandyan yung coach, nandyan yung voice coach, tapos nandyan yung talent.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bea. Right, okay. Looks like
So,
our next volunteer was not able to make it. So we will proceed directly to the role playing. We have Jess Van, who is Jane in here. And Angel Camille is, can you unmute your mics?
Hello. Yes,
Yes.
I'm Jasmine.
Yan, Jess. All right. And our interviewer who will role play as the interviewer. Angel, is that you, Angel Jessie? Dampil? No, that's not you. It's some other angel. Oh, wala. So, Jess, paano yan? Di sumipot yung interviewer mo. No,
Okay
kidding.
lang.
No, kidding.
Actually, I'm surprised today na pala yun.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Mike, are you fine with doing some role playing? I will post the questions in the chat. This is what we used before, which our co-moderator Phil prepared for us before in one of our sessions. So let me post. Hold on. I don't know why it's not working. Kuha niyo ba?
No, I can't see anything.
Interesting. It says Jane is not in this meeting.
No. Actually, I changed my name to Jess.
Hold on. Yan. Okay, now I get. Introduce yourself, what is your reason, strength, etc.
Okay.
So let me start, and then maybe Bong or Mike, you can jump in, or who else has experience with hiring. So first, can you introduce yourself? Start na to This is the
Okay.
start of our mock interview.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. I'm Jess, and my domain knowledge is supply chain and logistics. And currently, I'm career shifting to data analytics.
Mhm. Okay, what can you say is your weakness, and to supplement that, what is your strength?
Okay. I think what I think my weakness is I I'm a detail oriented person. So I think that's how although that can be strength, but the opposite of that is there are times that I could not see the forest. I only concentrate on the trees because I'm detail oriented person. So I think that's one of the weakness that I see in myself, and I also got that feedback from my former colleagues in my previous work.
Okay, comment na lang ako So, in our last session, I don't know if you watched the Discord session last season. The template is you will say what your weakness is, which is what you did. And then after that, you also say what you're doing. But this is what I'm doing to counteract that weakness or to make sure I mitigate that weakness. So
Okay.
that's okay. And then the next question, what is your strength? Actually, si Bea, pwede ka rin magtanong, Bea. If you want to jump in. What is your strength?
Okay, my strength is um I'm a detail-oriented person, and I think that is my strength because I noticed that not everyone is as detail-oriented as I am.
Hmm. Okay, so it's the same. Your weakness is also the strength.
Yes, it's the opposite. So if my strength is I'm a detail-oriented person, the weakness is the opposite of that.
Mhm. Okay. Sorry, let me just stop for a while. No? There's a question in the chat. Akala ko may presentation pa. Yes, I thought so too, but it looks like two of our volunteers weren't able to make it. So we're now jumping straight to the interview. I hope that's fine with everybody. Okay, back to you, Jess. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate your SQL skill and why?
Okay. I started my career shifting only this January. So I think my SQL skill uh, is I think around 2. But right now I'm studying and upskilling so that I can reach 10.
Okay, so we can skip the third one. Okay, the next few questions are on SQL. So let me just clarify. So if you're going on a technical interview, you will not be prepared to do a whiteboard exercise, right? Like how would you
Okay.
produce this? Would you use a group by? What is the difference between this and that? You won't be able to do that yet.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Okay. How about your Python skills? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it, with 10
Uh,
being the highest?
I think for Python it's also 2 because I just started career shifting this January.
Okay.
Well, can I add something that is not on the questionnaire? I think my strength is on Excel. So
All right, all right. Okay, expound on that.
okay. In my previous work, one of my tasks is data analytics. I think I've been doing that for 5 years. Although that's not my job title, it's one of my tasks. I'm more on the operation side of the business. Because I manage a team, I manage a department. I'm the head of the department, and one of my task is to report to the stakeholders uh, the metrics set by the company to our department. So every week I report that to the stakeholders. So part of my work is also data analytics, since I was the one gathering the data, I was the one presenting it, and making an analysis and insight on that. And I mostly use Excel in order to present to the stakeholders.
Okay, Excel, got it. So you are very well versed in Excel. There's a question here in the chat. Can we jump into as interviewer? Yes, please. Please
Hi,
unmute your
Jess.
mics.
Hello.
Hi, Jess. You said you're head of a department already. Can you give me a scenario where you use a decision that is actually, you can say, a data-driven decision? Because some data analysts are just data presenter, and some are just given insight, but you're a decision maker in your company, right? So can you give me an example where a scenario is a decision is based on data?
Okay. For example, I presented to the stakeholders uh, the lead time of. Usually, I presented to them the lead time of when the goods of the when the containers are coming into the warehouse, because I head the import department, so that's part of my task is to monitor the lead times. So if I present that to the stakeholders, um, uh, they will ask me why is it that there are some delays in the incoming containers to the warehouse. So based on their questions or their feedback or their insights, um, I will explain to them the reasons of the delay, and those reasons are also data driven, and I can show it to them uh, the um, the reasons of the delay with metrics or numbers to support what I have told them the reason of for the delay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but what was the decision that you've made upon learning those data, upon learning those metrics?
Okay. The the decision, I think when it comes to decision, I need to coordinate to other department if they want to order more inventories coming into our warehouse. So I need to coordinate that with other department, because if that is the decision of the company, then I will also adjust my timetable or lead times. So I will still have to coordinate with other departments on that.
Mm. Jess, I think you missed the Discord discussion, but what
Sorry
we
about
have,
that.
you can also view that if ever we follow
Okay.
the star format.
Okay,
A
okay.
lot of the people who joined us already know this. Yung star, first is the situation, and then what
Okay.
was the task, and then what action you did, and what was the result. I think that's why Alex is probing on the R, the result part.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
okay,
So,
okay.
okay. So that's
Got
good.
it, got it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, I'll check on that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. So do you still want to continue, guys? Or Bea, do you want to add anything?
No, I think I'm good. Normally, maybe for me, when I would interview analysts, what I would do is I would give let's say a Power BI link, just hypothetical. That's just me. And then I would ask them like 10 minutes to read the Power BI or the dashboard and then share with me their insights. That way, if I don't get to test them on the technical like SQL, or let's say Python, at least I get to test them with how they read the data. In a what do you call that? Unexpected scenario. Because normally they would think it's just an interview to get to know them. But at the start I would give them that. Some of them will get shocked. But some at least if they get to explain well the numbers in front of them, that's one of the cues on my side as well, that it could be like this person could be a potential analyst, etc. So yeah, I think it depends on the interviewer. Sometimes it's questions, sometimes not just me, but I know also a couple of people who do that. They really give like actual data for people to for the candidate to review, so that they get to test right away the analytical thinking of that person. Yeah, I just want to share that. But that's sometimes what I do.
That's a good tip. Sorry,
Miss
Bea,
Bea,
can I ask you, do you give take-home assignments? Because I read somewhere that sometimes they do.
Oh, well, on my side, I don't, because because I don't get to talk to them anymore, um, unless they get hired or they reach out to me. Because after that, it's HR already. Eh. So if I give them take home, it could be more of like some people. A couple of times they ask me some, let's say, tips about my experience. Like let's say, parang it becomes a two-way thing. There are a couple of times when that happened na in the end, I would ask them, do you have questions? And then they ask me, okay, what made you stay? What made you interested in data, etc. So those are the times when I probably would give them some, things to look at if ever they want to learn some things. But that's for them not to, to review. And then, of course, they could always reach out to me if they have more questions. But that happens usually in the end. But take-home assignments, not as much, I'd say, on my
Okay,
side.
okay.
Mm.
You're saying here maybe add more like programming skills, communication skills, aside from the soft skills, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, that's just one comment I think, because it's good for Jess to highlight that she's detail oriented, which is one which you also mentioned as her weakness. But it's also good to, because whenever there's an interview, it's a question of, let's say me as an interviewer, what I'm looking for is the value that that person will add to the company or the skill set as well. So for you to be able to stand out amongst all these other talented candidates, it's good to highlight. Let's say maybe 2 to 3 would be like a good number. Let's say for me, when I would interview someone, at least syempre other people kasi would also say they're detail oriented, they're this and that. So I think for me a good answer is a combination of those skills that highlight that you're a potential candidate for this. Could be a mix of technical, could be a mix of, good in communication and analyzing data, etc. So yeah, that's why I just commented on that, para at least the interviewer could get to know you a little bit more outside the first that you mentioned, Jess, which is being detail oriented.
Jess, you mentioned Excel, right?
Yes,
So
that's correct.
would you say how it's not in the question list, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your Excel skill?
I think around 8.
Oh, okay. And then you expound.
Okay. The reason why I rate myself as 8 is because I've been using that tool almost every day in my tasks. So I've been using that tool most of the time uh, to um, to gather data and to analyze.
Okay. So is your frequency of use, would that be enough? I think. I don't know. I don't interview
uh,
people about
hi
Excel.
Jess. Hi
Hello.
Jess. What business problem were you able to solve using Excel?
Um, Wait, I'm recalling. I'm recalling. It's uh it's mostly it's mostly uh lead time because one of my tasks in our department is to monitor the lead times. So my one of my staff will send me the data, and then I plot, and then I use a pivot table in order to check the lead time of each SKUs or and each container. So I think that's one way that I use Excel in order for my analysis to be faster.
Okay. Alex, are
Okay.
you looking for a specific answer like Power Query? Are you
Hindi po.
or
Situational, not really technical actually hinanap ko. So like for
situation?
example, nung nalaman niya na there, when she learned that the lead time was, for example, one SKU was having a slower lead time compared to the average, then she has, let's say, focus or shift focus or highlighted it to the decision makers if she's not the decision maker. That for this SKU for a certain producer or certain supplier, we're having, let's say, 20% below the average, and we need to focus on it so that in the future it will be at least on par with the other SKUs. Some things like
Okay.
that. Not really the
Okay.
technical.
Okay. Tips.
Yep.
All right.
I guess, Sandy, from my side, that to just want to ask the next steps, right? I think you came from a supply chain, I guess, logistics background, and apparently you love doing, data work using Excel. So how are you finding the career transition so far? Learning a more technical stuff. Is it sort of like a walk in the park for you, or?
Um, well, actually, uh, I'm um, I'm a bit struggling because I'm doing other things. So I'm a bit struggling right now. But as much as possible, I upskill every day so that I can progress, and I can successfully transition to data analytics.
That's pretty much it, right? You just
Yes,
set aside small, part of your daily,
yes,
day-to-day life.
yes,
Yep.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So I just wish you the best then,
Thank you
Jess.
very much.
No problem. Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. Yeah. I think we can wrap up the interview already at this point. Unless you have anybody has the last question na lang, last question. But if no one else has a question, I think we can wrap up the session for tonight and then see you all again next Saturday. Jess, did you learn a lot of things?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, what I learned right now is regarding the questions of our other members here. It gave me an insight on what strengths I should highlight, and what weaknesses that I have that I should improve. So it
Mm-mm.
gave me some insights on what to improve, what strengths to highlight for the future interviewer.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay, so with that, we are ending the session, the first session for season 2 of Presenters Online, and hope to see you again.
And then one more thing. I'll just research in our Discord on the star method because I'm not aware of that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will provide a link again. Somebody posted already. Actually, they teach this in some universities. So we will post those links. Oh, well, last question from okay, Jillian Lorraine, I think. if I pronounce it right. If ever I want to learn data analysis, what is the first thing I'll learn? Okay. Can we park that question for, because that's another long topic. What I advise is you look through the DEP website and see there are roadmaps for all the tracks that you want there. So it's up to you to decide. We cannot answer that for you actually, but you can have ideas of what first steps you can take when you look at that roadmap. Okay?
Add ko lang po, Miss Sandy.
Yes.
Kasi fresh naman ako as a data analyst kay Jillian. Actually kasi yung tool specific industry wala aside sa SQL. Kasi company can use Power BI, Looker, and Tableau, which they will have a different way to use na rin naman. So ang sasuggest ko lang is SQL and the data visualization tool. So up to you, Power BI, Tableau, and Looker. Bahala ka nang pumili. Pero SQL and data visualization can actually land the job.
Okay, good. All right. Sige. Thank you everybody for joining us. And hope to see you again next Saturday. Good night and thank you.
Good night, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you po.
Hi, Ma'am Sandy. Black lang yata yung screen ko kanina.
Ganun.
Naiwan ko yung cellphone ko sa shop. Laptop lang gamit ko, hindi ko ma-view lahat.
Yeah, hopefully umokay naman si Zoom recording.
Apo. Sige po. Double check.
Tingnan ko. So may backup tayo.
Kailangan talaga ng maraming practice. Nabigla rin ako.
Oo nga eh. Sige.
Thank you, Ma'am
Okay, sige.
Sandy.
Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everyone.